Welcome back to the Pudding Pals podcast, where the proof is in the pudding and the moms, they're completely unhinged. We're 9 moms who met by being real, raw, and a little ridiculous. We prank, we party, we parent, sometimes responsibly, but we always show up through the chaos, the carpools, and the questionable life choices. We're not the housewives, we're the Pudding Pals. And trust me, this pudding is thick with stories you won't believe. So grab a drink or a juice box and let's get into it. Yeah. Girls, we're back together on the couch finally for our season finale. This has been quite the ride.
Wow. Season finale.
It's crazy.
It's amazing.
Yeah, Jordan, when you came to me with this crazy idea of doing a podcast with the Pudding Pals, I was like, okay, but I also didn't know where it would take us. And we have come so far, bigger than what we expected.
Ever.
And I am so proud of all of us. I really am.
I agree. And, we have shared stories, we've shared laughs, struggles, and so many real moments. But we've grown so much through this experience, and not just as podcasters, but as best friends. And women, and I too, like Danielle said, I am so proud of you girls, because I know this was a lot of stepping outside our comfort zones. And I know you all have your own opinions, so yes. I wanted to ask you, Ash, what has it been like doing business with your best friends, getting into business?
Well, it's a lot more fun than working for my husband. But I think it's great. We have fun, we have boundaries, we have organization and good times and laughs and cries, and who wouldn't want to hang out with their friends?
I agree. And Alexa, what is the biggest lesson you have learned along the way?
I feel like the biggest lesson we all learned is how to communicate with each other and to learn that each of us communicate very differently. And yeah, I feel like that's a huge lesson we all learned.
It is.
Communicate.
For sure. Steph, yes. I know this was a big leap of faith for you. But you're real comfortable now, girlfriend. Was there a moment you thought, holy shit, we're really doing this?
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing really did spiral fast. Jordan came with us the idea, and I feel like a week or two later, we were sitting on Stacy's couch, and I remember driving to her house okay, this is crazy, and really nervous and kind of anxious. And then I walked into her house that we've been at 1,000 times, and there was lighting and people putting mics on us and hairspray going crazy. And I was just like, okay, here we go. And it's been fun.
Speaking of hairspray, Rachel, what is something that you learned about? What is something that you learned about yourself during this podcasting experience?
I was really kind of embarrassed about it at first. I was like, oh, it's just a little thing, deal with athlete. But then as we got into it, it's actually turned into a real podcast, and I was surprised. I'm like, okay. I also learned I'm getting a facelift in the next couple of years.
I'll go with you. We'll do what you're doing. Oh my God. Stacy, yes. After hosting this podcast, how would you describe us group of girls in 3 words? Loud as fuck. That's a good one. That's not bad. The truth.
That's true. Okay, and Heather,
yes.
What has been the biggest challenge of mixing friendship with work? Be honest.
Yeah, no, I'll be brutally honest. I'm going to piggyback off of Alexa's thing. Communication challenges, in all candidness, we had an issue, me, Jordan, Danielle, and it all came down to communication, which I learned again that, like you said, Alexa, we all communicate differently. And I especially need to address things and not hold on to them, because I will bury things and then explode, and that's not good for anybody. But most importantly, it made me realize how special you guys are, and our friendship is you know, if it can survive, you know, everything we've gone through and this, it's really special. And to me, that's been the best part of all of this.
It is.
It really
It
is.
is. Deanna, what has been the biggest surprise to come out of this?
Honestly, all the feedback we've gotten from everybody. I mean, I didn't know what was going to happen when we first got here. I was like, oh, we're just going to like talk about our daily lives. Like, oh, who's going to watch this? It's going to be fun. But when you brought on guests and we had questions, and literally, like, I've learned so much from this to how to talk to my kids. And getting texts from other moms about like, oh my God, this really, really helped me get through this. And now I know how to talk to them about this. And wow, it's really, you know, everything. The positive feedback is beyond.
It's so rewarding.
It really has been. That feedback has
that was
really
surprising to me. Yeah.
You're right. That feedback has been amazing, and we're so lucky. Girls, today we are closing out this podcast the same way we began. We're talking about what matters most, and that is friendship. And we have the perfect guest to help us do it.
Yes, we are thrilled to welcome Nina from the Dear Nina Friendship Advice podcast. And she's going to give us all the advice we need to keep the friendship going. So let's bring her in.
Let's do it.
Welcome to the Pudding Pals podcast.
Nina, welcome to the Pudding Pals podcast. We are so excited to have you here.
Sorry. I was going to say I've never inserted myself into a group of friends, but it's my dream to just be able to get in here and have things to say, and people will listen to me tell you things. I'm excited.
Today for our season finale, you get all of us, which hasn't happened since our launch of this podcast. We have Heather, Deanna, Rachel, myself, Jordan, Stacy, Danielle, Alexa, Stephanie, and Ashley. And we are so excited to get into it with you today, Nina.
Nina, you've become such a go-to voice when it comes to adult friendships. What drew you to start this podcast and bring up this topic? Because it's such an important one.
I will try to keep this brief because, like, really any women's or men's, actually, any person's career story, one door leads to another, and it could just go on and on. But friendship has always been a very important topic to me, and I want to be very clear. It's important your listeners know, and you all know, I'm not a therapist. I'm not a social worker. I am a writer. And I'm a writer, like all writers who write nonfiction end up on a beat of some kind. So you can be a travel writer, you can be someone who focuses on education, and you sit in school board meetings, this kind of thing. I had several different beats throughout time. Parenting was one I had for a long time. And as you ladies who are all moms can appreciate, at a certain point, I have 4 kids. At a certain point, as my kids got a little older, they're older now. I'm a bit older than you guys. My kids are 21, 18, 16, and 13. When my 21-year-old was 10, he heard a friend of mine comment on something I'd written about his piano recital that was an absolute disaster. But it was actually a complimentary essay. It was a funny essay. It was a humor essay. And it was actually one that I performed in front of a whole bunch of people on a program called Listen to Your Mother. And you did these, you read them. I wasn't literally performing them, but I read this humor essay about really is about me trying not to be a helicopter mom, trying to take over this piano recital. And I was like yelling at the teacher in my head and like, why isn't she helping him? He started and stopped the same song like 15 times. And how as a mom, you're sweating and it's horrible. Well, anyway, my friend came to get me for a walk and she said to my son, oh, I loved that piece your mom wrote about your piano recital. And he looked me dead in the eyes and he's like, you wrote about that? And I'm like, not only did I write about it, I did it in front of 700 people in an audience. And that was like at the end of my parenting writing stuff. That's what I'm getting at. And around that time, some writers I knew, this is back in 2013, 2014, just to give you a sense of time. And some parenting writers I knew were starting an entirely different website all about friendship. And I'd written pieces about friendship. I'd written a novel about friendship that, thank God, never saw the light of day. But it was a really great concept. I wrote it in 2006, 2007. It was called The Friends of Ivy Stein. And it was about 3 adult women who were all dumped by the same best friend, Ivy Stein, who was a made-up character. And it was like the childhood best friend and the college best friend. And I wrote it in my 20s, so I didn't get much further than. And then the 20s best friend all realized, wait a second, we were all dumped by the same woman who was sort of a serial best friend dumper. So I'd turned some of that into short stories. I'd written nonfiction stuff about friendship. And so they're like, we want you to be our friendship advice columnist. I'd had an advice column for writers on how to use Twitter. I'd had an advice column about baby names, which I loved. That was so much fun. And I was like, but I'm not a therapist. I felt funny about that. I didn't want to be called an expert. I mean, who can really be an expert on that? And they were like, no, we'll lean into that. We will make that the thing, that you're just a person who is oddly obsessed with this topic, which I am. And I do attribute that to my parents. My parents were very focused on friendship. They spent a lot of time with friends. My parents always had, a bridge group, a tennis group, a running group, a book club, all the things. Men came over and played basketball in our backyard. They had friends together. They went out with couple friends every weekend, and they had their own individual friends. And I got married pretty young I got married in the year 2000. I was only 23, which I know people do, but it wasn't so common. Most of my friends were like, what are you doing? It was strange at the time. And I moved to a city where my husband was from, where I had never lived, which is Minneapolis. I'm from Chicago. I'm like a Midwest girl. I went to college in St. Louis. I can't really get out of the Midwest, but I like it here. And I didn't know anyone. And I was like, what do you do when you move to a city? I just imitated my entire social life the way my parents did. And it worked. I had a book club, and I had this thing and that club and that. I just did a lot of things. I joined things. It wasn't that easy. It did take a lot of time, but I didn't make friends by sitting in my apartment alone and complaining about it. I had to do. And so I have strong opinions about that stuff, and I have a positive attitude about it, I think. And people seem to like my realistic advice, and that's how that came to be. That was 10 years ago. I started writing about friendship. The podcast was 4 years ago, and I turned it into a podcast because probably the same reason you guys have one. It's where it's at.
It is. Friendship it's so important. Why do you think, for adults, friendship is so hard to talk about?
I think that a lot of us have an enormous fear of rejection. And talking about, in any topic, by the way, in any parts of our lives, friendship, especially when one doesn't work out, when you're having an issue with a friend, it feels like the most personal rejection, because friends, in both ways, either if you are having trouble making friends, that's its own issue of feeling a sense of rejection, or if you do have a close friend and you're having an issue with that friend, or the friendship doesn't work out. As we all know, not all friendships can or should last forever. That also feels like a rejection. If we could reframe it and not see it as a rejection, it would be easier to talk about. It's so normal. Very few people keep all their friends forever.
Or you can accept it's a rejection and just learn how to navigate that. I had a friend break up, and it was harder for me to get over than one of the most serious relationship breaks I ever went through. Yeah. It was a few years ago, and I still dream about this person. It affected me so intensely, and it was an odd feeling because we all think it's normal to feel heartbroken and, ruminate over the end of a romantic relationship. But I found myself doing that over the end of this friendship, and feeling like, but is this normal? How do I deal with this? So it's helpful to hear from people like yourself, who's not a therapist, but, just a person like me, about how you can handle something like that. And friendship is, they say it's such an important part of our life. People without friends die younger. I mean, it's an important part. It touches every part of your day. So I appreciate your podcast and your Instagram profile and all of that.
Thank you. I want you to know it is so normal to dream about our ex-friends. Like the book I told you about, The Friends of Ivy Stein, was born out of a friendship breakup that I had when I was 18. And I used to dream about her all the time. And I should just tell you, I did reach out to her before writing the book. I did reach out to her. We did rekindle that friendship for a while. We were close again for another couple years. And then the same behavior kind of started again. She started to kind of ghost again. And I was like, okay, fool me once. And then that was the end of it. I didn't invite her to my wedding. Like it was, and
that's
haven't
my
heard
motto.
From her since.
Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you.
Yeah. I have a question, and I'm sure this is probably pretty common. But I had children later in life, so I had a group of friends and a whole life before I had kids. Some of those friends don't have kids, or their kids are older. And then now I'm in a weird spot where I have 2 young kids and a whole new group of school friends and mom friends. So it's some friends are feeling like I'm not hanging out with them anymore. I'm only with these people, and that's just kind of like a hard spot to be. And that must be a common problem, I'm sure, with adult friendships.
Yeah, when people are in different stages, kids, no kids, single, not single, I actually find having kids and not having kids is a harder one than being in a relationship and not being in a relationship.
My friends and I are like family. So it's more like, we've gone through, it's growing pains, and now I feel like we're back together, but it was a good 3 years of like touch and go. Like, we love each other so much, but it's like you can only be around so much,
That's right.
Yeah.
I believe very strongly in naming things, and even just saying that to a friend who you feel is possibly resenting the time you're spending with other people a little more, or that you're not as available, and just saying, I wish I was more available. I miss you so much. I wish I had more time. Just reaching out, naming the thing, putting a date on the calendar. So even if it's not as often as you used to, having that date, even if it's a talking date. I think people underrate the phone. And there's so many memes out there about how rude it is to call someone on the phone, expect them to answer, or how no one ever answers the phone. Ha ha ha. It's not so funny. Like I get, we all relate to that. No one really wants to answer the phone. However, a 20-minute phone call when you're in the car on a walk is worth like 1,000 texts. I mean, you can really connect with a person on the phone like we used to back in the day. And we should not throw that out as a very basic tool to keep up with your friends. You don't always have to make it a big night out or a big weekend. 20 minutes, 30 minutes while you're walking. But you may have to put that on the calendar, even that.
Yeah, our friendship changed. Like, instead of we were always together all weekend, now it's like, let's go to lunch or let's go work out. We have to really make an effort. It's like a marriage, but it's better. It's good. And everything is good now. But it's tough.
My best friend in the world since 9th grade, she lives in the city, and I'm obviously out here, and we really don't see each other often, but we talk 5 times a day for 20 minutes each time. And I'm closer with her than anybody in my life. But I probably see her once every 2.5 months. But she's like my sister. And I almost feel like that connection is even deeper because we talk constantly. It's always a catch up. She has 2 kids, but they're babies. She lives in Beverly Hills. Like, we just lead very different lives.
But you're making that effort.
Yeah. It's like I know when I drop my kids off at school, the minute I leave the parking lot, I call her every day. And then she calls me after school. We just have a routine. It feels weird now if we don't.
Because you're talking so often, you don't have very big, long catch-ups that are the same thing over and over again. Like, you don't have to run through, like, how are your parents feeling? How are your kids? What's going on? Like, this friend, because I have a friend like that too, knows all that stuff. So you can go deeper, actually, because you don't have to constantly start over.
Yeah. Nina, I have a question for you. Sometimes your friends don't show up for you and you need them, or the way you would show up for them. So what's your advice of, should you talk to your friend about it? Should you hold on to that disappointment? What's the best way to go about it?
This is my favorite topic, because any version of this, showing up and reciprocity are related topics. Like, whether you're doing more for the friend than they're doing more for you would be in the reciprocity camp. Showing up, if you mean for like a really specific thing, like could be for happy things or sad things. A parent dies. God forbid, a child. I can't even like discuss that. But like, a parent dies. The expectation would be that your friends would show up for a time, that they would hopefully, if they can, come to the funeral, that they would bring food over to your family for a certain amount of time. If a friend doesn't show up in that capacity, I think you can talk to them and say, and you should, if it's going to fester, and say that you were disappointed, that you assumed the friendship was at such a level that you would have hoped. It's really a compliment. Like, you're giving them a gift. I care about you so much. You're such an important person in my life that I was disappointed that you weren't showing up for me in the way I would have expected. Because if you didn't expect that from this friend, then you're not that close. So if you're so close that you would expect that, and it's going to fester in the friendship, I would bring it up. The cases, and same for happy things. You have a majorly happy thing that comes up in your life, and some people have a harder time showing up for you in happy times. I don't know if you guys have noticed that.
Sure. Oh yeah.
It's right. It's the showing
I feel
up.
like that's when they don't show up. Like when you realize
The hard stuff sometimes is easier because people know what's expected of them. It's you're having a big event or something exciting happens in your life and it's crickets. That can hurt just as much. And you're like, are they not happy for me? And you could talk about that too. The times when I don't think it's worth bringing up every little time is when you feel like you call more than they do or you text more than they do. This comes up a lot on my show and in my column. I have a friendship advice column. And I actually think people need to relearn what a reciprocal friendship looks like. And a reciprocal friendship is not, I do friendship a certain way and then you do friendship that exact way. Some people really are just not good texters or they're not good at picking up the phone or they don't need to hang out as much as you do. And if that happens, I don't think you bring that to that friend. I think you bring other friends in your life who do need to go out as much as you do or who do like to talk as much as you do instead of trying to make that friend do friendship just like you do.
But I also think it like, at least for me, there's been some moments that have been like hard times in my family. And that was where I was like, you didn't show up for me then. I've been having problems with this person for so many years and you kept on, at least I felt like I kept on trying. And then once these few instances happened and they still did, I was like, and now we're done. Like now I realize where you stand. Yeah. And
Well,
like we're good.
That actually leads into my question because this is a hard thing for me. Like, how do you, because I'm the worst at confrontation and I have a really hard time just to like walk away because I'm like, well, they're not. I mean, when somebody really fucks with me, I'm like, you're done. You're out. We're done. But like if someone you've known like your entire life and you really have to set boundaries or you know it's time to walk away, like, but you really don't know how, like,
how do you do it?
Yeah. What advice do you give? Like, I don't know.
You guys, this is such a hard one because if you have been on the receiving end of somebody wanting to end a friendship, which most of us have in some way, you know there's no good way. So when you ask someone if there's a good way, like the truth is, there's not. And so there's two most common ways, I will tell you. One is people completely disappear. That's what my friend did to me when we were 18. I know it's what people do to other people. We call that ghosting now. We didn't call it that in the 90s, but that's called ghosting. People do it when they're dating too, of course. But and that's where you just completely stop texting and might feel like out of the blue. To the person is probably not, who's decided to do that, it's probably a last straw. It probably is not out of the blue. On the receiving end, it might feel that way. The other way is a term that became more popular in the workplace, but it's kind of weaved its way into the social world, which is quiet quitting. And that's just another fancy word for stuff that everyone already did already, which was you text less often, you kick the can down the road. It's okay, oh, I can't get together this month, but things look a little more open next month. And then next month, you're not so open like you thought you were. And everyone has done this. It's very rare that it's just one-sided issue. Sometimes someone's not showing up for you, possibly because of some resentment they've been harboring about something you did that you never had a chance to apologize for. So, I mean, the lesson there is to not let things fester. But not every friendship is going to make it over these disappointments. And we all know that not every friendship could last forever. So I would not sit down and talk to someone about the things you're upset about unless you are hoping to solve these issues. My mother gave me a lot of advice growing up about this, and I use it a lot today. And that is, you can talk to somebody about something they did, but you can't really have a confrontation with somebody or talk to someone and hope for a solution if it's about who they are. Something they did versus who they are. So you can absolutely talk to someone about not showing up at a certain time in your life when that would have been expected and reasonable for that person to show up. But you cannot talk to them about if they're someone who never shows up. The truth is, friendship shouldn't be that much work. If it's so much work that you constantly have to teach this person how to be a friend, you have many other people you can be friends with. You cannot force this person to be someone they're not.
Yeah, you can't force anyone to be your friend, I've learned, even if you want to hold on forever, you can't. It's just like.
That's right.
So Nina, I actually have a question. What are your thoughts on age gap friendships? So as you know, or as you can see, well, hopefully not see,
Rachel just said she needed a
Yeah,
facelift.
Rachel needs a facelift, but that's okay. We have a very wide range of ages in our social group, the Pudding Pals. And, you know, I think it's so awesome because personally for me, like I learned so much from all of us, from my elders. Yeah, it's really nice. But yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
I love it. I advocate for it. I think it is so important. So I'm 48, just to give context to the conversation. I have friends who are 10 years older than I am or more, even 15 years older. And I have friends who are as young as, I have one who's like 33, 34, so that much younger. The technical number for an intergenerational friendship is 15 years, just so you know. So if you guys are less than that, I think, did I do the math right? Yeah. I don't think any of you are 15 years, so it's not actually a technical intergenerational friendship. It is a mixed age. So, that's what you said in the first place. There are, a gap in the age. So you do have that. I think it is essential because it gets you out of the echo chamber of things and that might mean more than just age, but different ages and stages. You want to be getting advice from people who've already been there. And then it's really fun to be in the position to give advice backwards and to be able to look back and say, like, here's what I would have done differently, and have someone actually listen. Because guess who's not listening? Your kids. Not that much. But like your friend
husband
who's 10 years younger might actually really value that wisdom. And I mostly only had older friends for a while. I'd say for most of my parenting life, 20s, 30s, I had friends older. And then in my early 40s, I started playing tennis again. And that changed my life. And I didn't even know how much I needed this. Not only did I love the sport itself, which I hadn't played since I was a kid, and it brought back so much muscle memory, and it was just joy. It was just pure joy. I loved it. Also, I met so many younger friends that way. And that's how I made these younger friends. And they're some of them in their mid-30s, earlier 30s, early 40s now. I'm 48, like I said. And I love having that energy in my life. And they're different. Because some of them are over 10 years, I find these women to be braver. I don't know, they're different than I was in my 30s. I just feel like they're less mired up in what other people think. They give me a different kind of courage. It's like I'm almost not teaching them, like they're teaching me. And I wouldn't have some of these ideas in my life. If I hadn't started tennis, I would have been so stuck in my everyone's 48 or older. It's kind of nice to have younger friends too.
It is. We rely a lot on our youngest pals for advice and honesty. So
I laugh when they say they were born in the 70s. I was like, that was like my Halloween.
Decent groovy. Yeah. That's what the 70s are.
I will tell you something one of my young friends who also lives in my neighborhood said to me, which was great. My daughter number 2 babysits for her kids a lot. She also has 4 kids, but they're obviously quite a bit younger. Like her oldest is not even as old as my youngest, who's 13. So my daughter, who's now 18, babysits for them a lot. And my daughter said to her, "Oh, my mom loves you so much. She's like so happy that you young girls will hang out with her." And she told my daughter, who told me, "Tell your mom to stop bringing up her age. None of us care. None of us talk about it. Only your mom brings it up." And I was like, okay, that was good advice. She was like, stop making a thing about it. And she was right. Like I was the one making a big deal about it.
See, I'm the oldest one, and it's a little opposite. I don't really ever think about it, and I don't feel like any of you guys ever make me think about it either. So, I think we're lucky I'm lucky because we're all in the same stage of life, and I think that's more than anything what makes our commonalities more than just our ages. So I feel lucky for that, but I sometimes pretend like, oh, I'm Alexa's age.
I mean, Heather, you're aging backwards. I mean, come on.
Rachel and I go get facelifts together, and then I'll really age backwards.
I'm mid, and you guys teach me aging things, so that's nice.
Well, I feel young until I get cold at night after dinner, and you guys throw away my shawl that I had on my shoulder.
Out the window, it was so
I'm sorry, it was a
Capelet.
It was a capelet, and it did not need to be in public.
Okay, anyways.
So wait, you guys are different ages, but your kids are the same.
Yeah.
age.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Okay, so that's interesting. It would be nice for some of you, I think, and maybe you do already. I don't assume that you don't. I know you have other friends, but to have friends whose kids are ahead of you, and to have friends whose kids are younger.
We all kind of
It's kind of a fun thing to have.
So Nina, just like you, I have fell in love with tennis as an adult in my early 30s, and I do feel like tennis has brought in us a lot of friendships and hanging out with people that we wouldn't normally hang out with. And for us, it's been more of a like girl mom, boy mom situation. The boy moms all hung out together, and then the girl moms all hung out together, and then we all started playing tennis, and now we're all just friends, and it's great and lovely. I have a question about children and friendships. How do we kind of like help our kids navigate who they want to keep in their lives? Like I recently read something that's like you have friends that are like leaves that come and go. You have friends that are like a tree branch that are rooted that you'll have forever. How do we kind of help our kids define which ones are the leaves, which ones are the roots?
And understands friendships in general.
And understand friendships in general and people and how strange and weird people are.
Can be.
Yes. Oh, this is such a big topic. Just like I said, we've probably all been in the position where somebody has ended a friendship with us and never usually in a great way, which we didn't quite finish. I just want to add on that. If you've been ghosted, you are going to say you wish, and this is a good lesson for kids too. You're going to say, oh, I wish they just told me. I wish they told me it was wrong. If someone sat you down and said, this is what's wrong in our friendship, you're going to say, I don't know why they didn't just like text me less and disappear. Like I didn't need to hear that. So there's really no good way. With the kids, the reason that relates is you're going to go through a situation, I'm sure most of you have already, where I guess I don't know how old your kids are, but you're going to go through a situation where someone drops your kid and you're going to say things like, I hate that kid. You're going to feel angry towards their parents. But then you're going to have a situation where your kid comes to you and says, I just, don't really want to hang out with so-and-so anymore. And you're going to be like, oh, but so-and-so's such a nice kid and we can't leave that kid out. We cannot have Halloween and have 7 of them and not have these other 2. And it is really hard because all of us want our kids to be kind. Nobody wants to have their kid have a bad reputation and therefore we have a bad reputation. And just being honest, like I obviously want my kids to be really nice. And I also don't want people to say, wow, Nina really raised some jerky kids. Like who wants that? That's horrible. I lose sleep over that. But there's going to be a time when you cannot force friendships on your kid. First, the parents have to accept it is okay if everybody's not friends. And that's easier said than done. And we have to stop acting like it's a crisis when the kids aren't friends, because kids' friendships change all the time. Adult friendships change really every 7 years. Not all of your friends. It's not like every 7 years you're going to wake up and be like, oh my gosh, nobody's in my life from 7 years ago.
Time for 6 more years, ladies.
Right? Start keeping track. But you may find that in 7 years, the top 3 numbers of the people you text are different 3 than 7 years ago. Not that the people will be gone from your life, but that the people you turn to most often on a weekly basis may be a little different. That's normal for adults. Imagine how much more so for kids who have a different class schedule every single year, do different things in the summer every year. They have so much opportunity to meet new people. They try new activities. They bond with someone. All the people we all met in tennis, like they have that every year. Like they have gym class every year, different kids. Like they're always going to be meeting and bonding with new kids. Well, there's only so much time in a day or in a weekend. So they're going to start gravitating towards new friends, and then the old friends get upset. And so the best thing to do is to model as a parent. I think that language that you use, that yes, it's totally normal and not everybody gets invited. Friends hang out without you. It's not a crisis. Snapchat's like the absolute worst thing to happen to kids' friendships. Like, do any of you how old's like the oldest kid in this group?
Daughter is 11. She just turned 6th grade. So she's the first
Middle schooler
child of the group that went to middle school.
Okay. Yeah, you'll see obviously things changed a lot. All the elementary schools come together and not.
And then I have a son who's friends with like all of the boys here, but I've definitely seen it with my daughter and friendships. And yeah, I mean, I think, at least I teach her it's okay for friendships to change and evolve. You just can never. You still have to be kind to the person. Yeah. Like that's always my advice. Like continue to be kind. But that doesn't mean that like friendships don't evolve. But I mean, I guess that brings me to expectations, which I think are hard. At least for me, I don't put a lot of expectations on a friendship, but then maybe it comes to a point where I'm like, wait, it's been like a year that I've been texting that person and I haven't gotten a response. So I probably like hold it all in until it's like too late. But I guess it's sort of, what are your thoughts on, should it be 50-50? How do you manage those expectations?
No to 50-50. And every it's a totally normal and good concept, right? It would make sense that we would think everyone puts in the same. I think it would be nice if it's 50-50 over time, over a long period of time. But there may be a couple of years, depending on what's going on in a person's life, where you really are the one reaching out a lot more. Again, kind of like I said earlier, maybe your need is bigger at that time and their capacity is less at that time. So then it's more like 80-20 for a year. But another way to look at it is, in terms of expectations, is if you're giving in a certain way, and in your case, it might be reaching out, you're always the one who texts. How receptive is this friend? Do they text back, or do they like let it go days? Do they actually, you guys know there's phone tag and there's texting tag that is a genuine effort. And then there's, meaning effort is being made on both sides, even if it's not equal. And then there's the person's clearly just not answering. Like, not because they're busy, but because they're just not as interested. You have to learn to feel the difference. If they are responding in a timely manner, listening really well, asking great questions, they are genuinely interested in your life, I consider that reciprocal, even if you are always the person who called first, even if you are always the person who reached out for plans first for years. When they show up, if they are truly engaged, they are listening to what you're saying, they're asking follow-up questions that show like they're interested and they care. To me, that needs to be let in as the same as if they texted first. Because you could be friends with, do you like that? I mean, I like that a lot. You could be friends with someone who does text just as much, but when you're with them, they're like on their phone. They're not the same person who maybe doesn't text as fast, as maybe not as attached to their phone. Like, and so you're actually getting them in person in a really warm, authentic way. You can't have it both ways though.
Right. Yeah. No, for sure.
Well, I think he's given us so many amazing advice, so much amazing advice about friendship. Is there one, final piece of advice you want to leave us with, based on all of your experience?
Yes. One of my favorite things, and this is a good thing to teach your kids also. It's really obvious. It's like, hold on to your seat. You'll never have heard something so obvious in your life. You should be friends with people you like. And that is it. So all this other stuff, like how do I get someone to show up is enough, or how do I get someone to like do as much as I'm doing, or with the kids especially, like who should the kids be friends with? If it should not be that much work. It's work. Every relationship is work, but you are not married to those people, to your friends. You're not. So you should work at it to a point, but if it feels like really hard work, it's not right. And you should be friends with people you like, period.
I love that. I love that.
Well,
I like these girls.
I don't feel it.
Nina, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and perspective today. This was such a beautiful way to wrap up our season of the Pudding Pals podcast.
Thank you.
And we hope to talk to you again soon.
And where can everyone find you, Nina?
Really quick, I just have to say this is such a beautiful friendship to witness. Like, it's the fact that you're doing this work together. I mean, this is going to keep you bonded because you're doing something beyond just going out to dinner. I mean, you're really you've created something. I'm just affirming you. Dinner's fun too, believe me. That's like pretty much all I do with my friends. But you've created something together. So how wonderful is that? And I'm on Instagram and TikTok, despite my old age, at Dear Nina Friendship. I really enjoy the social media. I just do. What can I say?
Nina.
Well, thank you so much, Nina.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
That was so great. I feel like she gave us
amazing
such good advice. Yes. We have another 6 years together until we
till we're all cut.
No, but that was really amazing. So let's play our game. Our
Let's do
final
it.
game of the season.
Final game. Let's do it.
Okay. 5 fingers up.
Show your manicure.
Boom. Okay. Never have I ever remembered a friend's birthday late?
As soon as thank you for the early posters. You remind me of people's birthday.
Like if they're not on Facebook or something. Like,
Sorry.
My friend called me out.
Okay. Never have I ever kept a friendship secret that was super important.
Wait, say it again.
What?
Never have I ever kept a secret that was super important.
From a friend.
From a friend?
Oh, kept a secret?
Yeah.
Okay, I've kept a secret.
I've kept a secret. Yeah, not told your best friends. I have.
Never have I cut ties with a friend for my own mental health.
Oh, I've cut ties.
I guess me.
Never have I ever snooped through a friend's phone.
Never.
A friend? No.
Friend, you didn't call a friend.
Never have I told my friend that she looks bad in something.
We all
When I walked into your house and I go, you look like, what are you wearing? Trash bag?
That's being a friend.
Yeah.
It's being honest.
Never have I ever had a crush on the same person as my friend.
Oh, me. I lost.
Jordan lost.
Oh man, me in 5th grade, me and my friend had this same crush on this kid.
Guys, dare to dip or spill the pudding, Jordan?
Oh, spill the pudding.
I think that one, yeah.
Give me the card.
If you were arrested with no explanation, what would your friends assume you did?
I was selling my pharmaceuticals.
Yes, sold. Yes.
I was selling my. If you would absolutely assume, Jordan, who did you sell your Xanax and Ativan to?
You bought some from an FBI.
And that's what I would be arrested for.
But I don't think you would be selling it. I think you would just be handing it to
Also,
someone.
honey, I'm never giving that shit up. I don't care.
She's collecting.
I
It. You're not. It's
I
not
hoard.
getting rid of
I don't.
yours.
I'm not
It's
selling
collecting
that.
others.
Yes. If I was desperate, but I got a doctor who prescribes it. So
And then they'd be rated.
You're sick enough. You need
So
it.
Jordan's Pudding Pal pill stand will be.
Me soon.
while we're on hiatus, you can find me on the corner here in Calabasas.
All right. Well, you guys,
cul-de-sac.
this was a great ending to our season.
It was amazing.
This journey has been everything we have hoped for and so much more. We've pushed ourselves and we've learned to show up for each other in new ways.
It's true.
Yeah.
I mean, we have laughed. We've cried. We have put it all out there. And the best part is we get to keep building this with all of you. This community that we've built, our listeners, and we want you to know how grateful we are for your support.
This isn't goodbye, guys. It's just a break. We'll be back next year. So happy holidays, everyone. We hope you have an amazing holiday season.
And remember, don't just find the friends that accept you. Find the friends that unlock the most authentic, unapologetic versions of yourselves, because truly that is the magic of the Pudding Pals. We'll see you next year.
See you next
Happy
year.
holidays. Happy holidays.
Welcome to the pudding.